We're back here at the TimeLife books again because to understand what's happening at Skinwalker Ranch, we need to acknowledge the importance of magic to our story and electro-Magnetism. In Europe, the casters of magic spells were called wizards or witches, but in America, they were called shaman. These shaman cast spells that were as real as the wizards of Europe. This magic originates in great antiquity and with the long-lost civilization of Atlantis. We're not talking about a garden variety of shaman, in the North American tribes here, performing rain dances. We're talking about one of the surviving giants whose people were responsible for the mound works of North America. Legends around the world talk about giants, so we're in familiar territory again with TimeLife books. The legend that we'll unpack today begins with a wizard who liked to disguise himself in the skin of a wolf. Magic, deception, and electromagnetism are all going to come into focus today. That and a few documents from the alphabet agencies around the world that unwind these mysteries nicely. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, and welcome to Disclosure 29. With my eye, I spy Skinwalker Ridge and a wizard. To get to the heart of the matter, we need to lay out some key details about the events that have been described at the ranch. All of these have to be cogently connected to any explanation for it to work. With that, we're going to begin with the most important element to our story, which is the ridge directly to the north of the ranch called Skinwalker Ridge, which gave Skinwalker Ranch its namesake. Why here? Why does legend say that a skinwalker walked the ridge wearing the skin of animals, and in particular, a wolf? Legend says that the skinwalker was a shaman, or someone who cast magic spells. I'm going to suggest we take this statement not as fanciful myth, but at full face value. A being was here that walked this ridge, wore the skin of animals, and had access to advanced technology we call magic. Solidifying this point is important because this shaman cast a spell that cursed the land. I'm going to drive this home even further because it's just that important. Someone was here of an advanced nature, and the entity has been given the title of Skinwalker. Now let's talk about the magic of the Skinwalker, and why its magic is here. When the Utes say that this land is cursed, there is a very real effect occurring in the area within the quantum field of reality.
But we'd love to get your perspective on it.
Well, normally when we do anything to disturb the earth, we usually lay down the blessing, because I don't want to tap into something that isn't meant to tap in.
Amen. That's been my whole contention the entire time.
That effect is simply caused by a technology that we do not understand. But if you look at the phenomenon from the standpoint of the magician casting illusions, we can get one giant step closer to the heart of the matter. To take that giant step, we need to talk about giants. There is a now fairly well-known speech by Abraham Lincoln noting the bones of giants that once roamed North America. Quote, "The eyes of that species of extinct giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, have gazed on Niagara as ours do now, contemporary with the whole race of men, and older than the first man. Niagara is strong and fresh today as 10,000 years ago." The Skinwalker of the Ridge was a giant from the lost race that built the huge mound works of North America, and whose bones Lincoln describes. Apparently just one, but one of these lone survivors of the cataclysm appears to have set up shop in the area, and donning the skin of a wolf, it operated under the illusion of shape-shifting. It walked this ridge above the ranch. When we get to the end, you'll better understand why he walked this ridge.
Well, on that note, it reminds me of a conversation I had with some people at the CIA, and there's a term that's used there, and you'll forgive my vernacular, where much of this subject is referred to as WSFM. Sounds like a radio station. It means weird science and frickin' magic.
What we are talking about in relation to the phenomenon here is just that, a technology that we don't understand that looks like magic. For context on this technology, I'm going to talk about a document Edward Snowden released in 2012 that exposed the techniques of the modern-day illusion makers at the alphabet agencies around the world, and in particular, the Five Eyes. This is not a U.S. document. This is a GCHQ, or British equivalent of the CIA's document, called The Art of Deception, and it states unabashedly that they want to create cyber magicians. They want to make what they do look so seamless and elegant, it's like magic, except in the cyber domain. These cyber shaman lay out a whole host of tools and information, all of which use illusion to produce the desired result. What we are dealing with at Skinwalker Ranch are the tools of illusion and deception, of intimidation and fear. When the Utes say that the land is cursed, they mean there is a technology at work in the area that has negative aspects. A 1983 document called Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process was submitted to the Special Operations Group commander at Fort Meade, Maryland. This document outlines explicitly and endorses the Monroe Institute's hemisync technology, which creates a resonant harmony through the use of binaural beats, inducing access to the universal hologram. This technology can be used for a variety of purposes, such as remote viewing the past, present, and future, accessing hidden information, problem solving, and personal and spiritual growth, with the side benefit of increasing the user's ancient intuition, or the ability to make the perfect choice. It then goes on to lay out the technique of patterning, which is a way to achieve any goal. At the end of the document, we find the conclusion, where action items have been listed to ramp up the program into gear, and one item K of the conclusion states, quote, arrange to have groups of people in Focus 12 state unite their altered consciousness to build holographic patterns around sensitive areas to repulse possible unwanted out-of-body presences. In other words, have a group of people trained in the hemisync technology enter a trance-like state, and with their consciousness, imagine barriers that hide sensitive areas like Area 51 from remote viewing by outside forces such as the Chinese and Russians. The CIA, as Russell Targ's comments indicated in his TED Talk, had no choice but to take the threat of remote viewing seriously.
The other folks there are Bob Monroe, who wrote about journeys out of the body, how to go from remote viewing to an out-of-body experience, but that's outside our schedule for today. So this is the first in a series of experiments we did over a course of a decade, and it's basically what convinced the CIA to give us money. That is, what we played is a kind of psychic hide-and-go-seek. Off my schedule, I got to tell you, he also described a National Security Agency code facility in Virginia, and he described that, was able to read the file folders, and people wanted to know, why did you pick this to read? And he said, well, the more in psychic space, the more you hide something, the brighter it shines. So let that be warning to anybody who's having an affair.
Magic is real, and there are magicians working in the government and government projects to this day. Some magic takes advantage of natural forces, one of which is electro-Magnetism. Having established that what we are looking at is a giant and a technology designed to manipulate, the bigger question of just how this technology operates comes to mind. The neutral point in the global circuit runs north-south at 109.15 degrees, visible in the topographical change between Yellowstone to the west and the Bighorn Basin to the east. This region of North America is located in a very specific section of the circuit created by the Venus cataclysm, and these two tiger claws represent the extension of the west coast cathode into the east coast anode, and these mountains today still generate an electrical effect. Just 1 mile north of Skinwalker Ranch is a giant hole in the shape of a bottle named Bottle Hollow Reservoir, not because it's shaped like a bottle, but because it was used by the local fort in the 1800s as a trash dump. There's been a dam built at the north end. Like the Moai of Easter Island, the Skinwalker chose this location because of its position electromagnetically in the global circuit left by the cataclysm. You need to reorient the idea of what it means when historians say people were worshiping the sun, or on Easter Island that they were worshiping the Moai. It's not worshiping. These practices were part of the steps needed to run the machines. They are moving the current of the sun and focalizing it into a location. In electricity, charge and current are opposing forces. If the charge is going in this direction, then the current is going in this direction. Like the erosion caused by the current of a river, you can follow the depression to see where the current was being drawn, and in this case, the current went in this direction, and it still has a bias to do so today, creating an increased electromagnetic field in the area. This next part is credited to EU researcher Andy Hall, who shared the following thoughts on the area. Quote, "There is a strong Earth-sky connection there as a result. Uinta Valley is a big cathode spot. The mountains around it are anodic and points of electric field strength, which I think serve to amplify the negative in Uinta Valley, and in particular, its central region where Skinwalker Ranch is." Fully agree. All the necessary elements exist to power technology from the sun, which again, is not a new idea. How the technology operates is still a bit of a mystery to me, but the phenomenon appears to be electromagnetic in nature, and I would suggest a correlation study be done on solar data and events at the ranch. People say there is a hitchhiker effect. Can you see the similarity in the concept if you look at this from a static cling point of view? And you most certainly can pass on static cling items.
Static sheet in the dryer.
Stop it!
Like I said.
Legend says the area was cursed. Andy says that the valley is negatively amplified from the cataclysm, and I'm going to translate those two into saying that a technology, though probably not at full strength today, is still employed in the area. Pulling the full picture of that technology together, we get a lone wolf survivor from the mound people, employing a technology powered by electro-Magnetism. This entire thesis is simply based on taking the legend at face value and the events that have been experienced. There was a giant, and it clearly didn't want to be bothered. This is not a new theme for either wizards or giants, or in this case, Skinwalker shamans. The question I still have, however, is where this illusion-creating machine is located. It very well may not be located anywhere. It may not be a physical machine in any sense that we might understand. It's magic, after all. But then again, if I had to pick where I'd check first, I might suggest we look at the bottom of Bottle Hollow. Shit's weird on the ranch, brah. Really weird. But not unexplainable. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to leave me a comment down below, and stick around for more cutting-edge research and analysis. Peace.